It's Saturday night. It's 7 o'clock, and it's now time for Transformers the Show. Right, on tonight's show, we have all the latest news. So we've got Galvatron again for week number 6 or 7, wherever it is. Black Zarak, that's the big news. Plus, we've got Kato and Rudy. Thank you so much for coming on, chaps. Brilliant to see you. First of all, though, it's the news. Dun, 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 dun. News.
I talk some TV, and now the news. Don't touch that dial.
So here is the news. We start as always with mainline Hasbro kind of stuff. So we've got Masterpiece skids there with the repaint, which I can't remember the name. What's the red version of this called, Alexis?
It's the Diaclone one.
It's just the Diaclone one. Right,
Diaclone one.
It looks good, I think. I don't know if anybody else
it's toy accurate. So X-Transbots is the version of which was toon accurate, and this was more toy accurate. The only difference really is the way the wheel is on his shoulder is forward in the toon, and it's like that in the toy. That's pretty much any difference. So
cool.
Is this the Masterpiece one that just nobody really asked for?
Yes.
Yes, the Masterpiece skids that nobody was asking for, but they have dropped it in there. Except maybe Thew. I think Thew Adams asked for it in one of his videos when he's saying that skids just didn't get enough love.
But the X-Transbots version is good enough. So
I get it though. I mean, it's a popular vehicle, or it was a popular vehicle in Japan, and that's who they're really
it's
aiming for
huge
here.
in Japan.
Yeah.
The Honda City.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
It always seemed it was like a little minivan thing. But unfortunately, you don't get a figure of that. Who was the girl that washed him in one issue of the comic? He got car washed by a girl who was sprawled across the front, Megan Fox style.
God, is that when you got excited?
I remember that one from my childhood. Then we have
moving on
an add-on kit for HasLab Unicron. So because so many people pissed and moaned at the color of the maw, we now have
a ring piece.
So I mean, this doesn't really affect me, as I'm not investing the money that it would have cost for the HasLab Unicron. But for you guys who are getting it, is anybody going to pick this up? Anybody that bothered?
I imagine you can probably get it for about 20 quid. So it's just like, why doesn't HasLab pick up the tab? You know.
And where would you stop? Would you get more bits, or would you get like the bit which is blue on his left?
This is the start. I'm waiting for them to release the actual second set of rings, and therefore you can have bot mode and planet mode, like complete, can't you?
Is that coming from Hasbro though? The larger rings, or is that a third party again?
No, this is third party. I mean,
yeah,
it just said 3D printed, so someone's designed it. So
you guys just did an unboxing of Unicron, right? So you're gonna get the fancy ring.
Yes, if we can.
If
it comes out, yeah.
You know, it's however much you paid for it to then have to buy more. But obviously, it looks incredible, and it's a giant feat of engineering. But if I was paying that sort of money, I would want it to be complete. I wouldn't want to have to then spend X amount of money to make it even more. I felt like that about Devastator, because you could get an extra cab, couldn't you, for Mixmaster to give it that?
Yeah, to make
that
it
kind of feel. And that was a normal Generations, whatever the Combining Wars toy. But yeah,
do you guys feel that Hasbro has conversations now? It says things like, I know there's a lot of holes in this, but screw it, somebody's going to make a kit so we can still sell it for 20 and they'll just buy the kit.
Yeah,
I think so.
There has
Sometimes,
to be, right? Like even this, they probably said, it's going to be blue, but who cares? Some third-party company is going to fill that in for us.
Yeah. Why spend extra time doing it? Someone will finish the product off.
That's it. You just got perfect. Every time Hasbro release something, perfect effects, they're going, right, to work.
Right.
And then we had Modern Icons are doing a adult-sized Optimus Prime helmet, which will feature, amongst other things, light-up blue eyes. There we go.
Oh, this is not for kids. This is for adults.
No, this is for adults. This is for adults. Yeah. We have got a little bit of information about the cost, which our friend of the show Nathan found out from. I think it's going to be a GameStop exclusive in the US.
Yes, it is.
And he had a look on, so there's those light up eyes again, and that's it. Just normally, I mean, it's like a cosplayer's dream if you don't have to build one. But anyway, $129.99 in dollars on GameStop. And yeah, it's going to have the voice as well, voice phrases and sounds, which for $130 you'd expect it to have, and detail, paint, and battle damage for a real world feel. I mean,
it's time for an Optimus Prime sex tape.
That will be the next logical step.
It's very considerate of them to put out there in this climate, obviously, a Transformers style face mask that you can wear in public when you're shopping or going to pubs, and obviously feel safe at the checkout. And if the phrases are, "Can I pay contactless? Can I have my receipt?" then that'll be ideal.
What?
What are you talking
What on earth are you going on about?
I totally get it.
You promised us you hadn't started drinking early, Alex.
It's been doing ketamine. Ketamine's not a drink.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Use it as a face mask and just
Drugs
change
are
the
bad.
phrases so
You
that
can't.
you
What
can
was
you
the
can
receipt
use
bit?
it.
I wear my
contactless.
you know,
Really specific about the payment
I've got a
details.
screen mask I wear round the village, and you know, people accept it.
Cool.
I
Right,
actually
what's
think
next?
it's probably going to sell quite well, being that people always want Boba Fett,
Yeah.
Mandalorian
Yeah,
mask,
yeah.
and Stormtrooper helmets.
Oh, there'll be a market for it, won't there?
Yeah.
It just depends, I suppose, on the finish of it. You know, is it going to be worth anywhere near the $130?
I'll tell
that
you,
they're-
these GameStop masks are really good. I've been tempted to get quite a few because they've got, Power Rangers masks, which I'm not a big Power Ranger fan, but they've got a Snake Eyes mask there. I saw a couple of Cobra Commander helmet. They're normally around $100, but I guess because this one has electronics, it'll be a little fancier.
And then we move on to Black Zarak, which was arguably the biggest reveal. I think for most people it was. So lots of people, for them, Black Zarak is this incredible thing that they don't think they'd ever be able to get, because obviously the Japanese G1 toy is known for its GPS, and not many of them survive, and those that do are often broken and damaged. So we're getting
Men's
a
a fair
repaint.
price, doesn't it? £400.
Yeah, it really
£600.
does. Was it Tony, one of
Tony
the TF
Fressel's
Nations?
one,
Yeah, he picked one up, didn't he? And I think I remember being in that TF Nation, and there was, they were showing it off in the bar, and I remember kind of just holding it for a few seconds and then thinking, nope, give it back, because if I drop this,
It's just 6 hours of him
Right.
walking around like a WWF belt, just holding it up, just walking around the bar, not even talking to anyone, just showing it off.
So we've got a modern version, a repaint and remold from the Earthrise Scorponok. So who is going to pick this up? And then we have a shot of Black Zarak in his robot mode, looking pretty nice. You get the spear. Go on.
I'm assuming the GPS isn't around now. Like,
No.
That's just a
gonna be
thing.
painted.
that was
God,
just a
you'd
thing
hope
back in-
so.
That's going to
You'd-
be painted. That'll be painted
right.
gold.
Yeah.
I would hope so,
Yeah.
like they did with Grimlock.
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
be
Yes.
using paint.
And it does look good. I love the eye patch.
Huh.
I mean,
I mean, it
that's
does
just
look quite
fantastic.
Digibash, doesn't it? But
It probably is at this stage,
Yeah.
but if it looks in real life anything,
It says it at the
as good
bottom,
as that.
digital rendered images.
yeah,
See, I
Which is weird, 'cause
did
Hasbro
not
don't do
pre-order
that.
this.
Neither did I,
Sorry.
but I can
But-
understand why people did.
I'm very tempted to. Like, I think I'm going to regret not pre-ordering it. I just
there's
don't
still
know if I
plenty
want
to-
another Scorponok Titan in the room.
There'll be
I was
plenty
looking
to
at
buy.
the MP collection. It's gone, Jay.
No, but there's still plenty to buy, and I think there's a lot of people in the same boat deciding should they go for it, should they not. There's a lot of people like myself who have no affinity for the character, don't really care, but I just pre-ordered it just in case I would change my mind in the next 10 months.
I suppose it's better to have the pre-order and then cancel it if you don't want it. Than,
Well, I wouldn't
not.
cancel because I think cancelling is getting a bit annoying for a lot of these retailers. But yeah,
There's quite a few places that are stocking it as well, which is a good
yeah,
thing.
Means
Yeah,
you
you
did
just think
buy
I
it,
like
you're not going
Places
to
you
lose
wouldn't
out, are you?
expect.
You'll be able to
Very
sell
kind
it
of-
for.
it's
Is
no
that much
Haslab
more-
Unicron.
why is he got this sort of like bullet wound in his chest?
The battle damage. Not sure. I'm assuming it's some reference somewhere in the was it Transformers Victory cartoon?
He
Yeah,
came back
probably.
today. They brought back Grand Maximus and Black Zarak, and they forged them from the corpses of the old Transformers.
That's right, because
I was going to say that
Scorponok was
they're-
killed, or Zarak was killed. Wasn't
yeah, but the MP size, if you've got, he might scale quite well with sort of like the you've got the Overlord and Like if you get the MP sort of thing, they're all quite big then, like sort of 15, 16 inches, like the MP Overlord is. So
they
he's
reforged
20
them,
inches.
but kept an eye patch.
He's a
Oh, we
pirate
can't
now.
be bothered building that last
Can't-
eye.
We're not going to fix that on the front. We're just going to.
It's like Hasbro. They were like, oh, some third party.
Yeah, third party will
company
come
will
in.
party.
Where's Perfect Effect?
He's got a really happy face at the back, hasn't he?
Stop
Hey,
thinking
look.
logically.
Because he's alive again, isn't he?
And then the prices for the pre-orders varied a little bit. Some were putting them up for $129.99, but most were closer to $149.99. And I suppose shipping and everything, depending where you get him from.
I ordered
thing-
in-demand
thing-
toys.
Things like this are where Generation Select shines, right?
Mhm.
This is where you get the obscure character, somewhat obscure character that some fans want, as opposed to putting a character everyone wants into some exclusive store or pack.
Like
somewhere.
Blaster.
Well, we want Blaster, don't we? We would love it. We'd love a new version of Blaster, and we'd
Blaster,
like,
the Autobots. No, we'll have Black Zarak. He'll do.
yeah.
You
But
got
I
your
think
ass blaster. Does that not count?
Yeah, that's Blaster.
Jamie and his ass blaster, yes.
That was in a
Generation
sales
Select.
I know
Alexis.
it wasn't your fault, Jamie. I know it wasn't your fault. We had a misunderstanding with the name of one of the Micromasters in the Botropolis set, which wasn't. It was on the website as Ass Blaster. So that's what Jamie said on the show.
I was like double checking. Go, this can't be
Yeah,
right.
Ass Blaster.
That's
Oh,
a
your
different
weekend
show.
name. Anyway, I do think it looks good. I haven't pre-ordered it simply because I haven't got an affinity to that version of the character. I love the original Scorponok, and I'm lucky enough to have the original Scorponok and the Earthrise one. It's another massive box to have to try and find room for, and I haven't got the affinity with the character. But if I see it and we get close to the time, it looks good. Like Jamie said, there's lots of places where it's available, so I don't.
Yeah, it
think
may
this is
become
something
even
that's gonna be hard.
cheaper. I'm kind of hoping in some cases, but
We'll
Yeah.
see, won't we? We'll see. But then we go on. Standard must-have one shot of Kingdom Galvatron. And there he is with the lads,
Good size.
looking much better as with every photo that we see coming out of him now. That when he's actually transformed properly and proportionally, he looks good.
I think he looks good. I mean, the early photos, I think you guys have talked about it ad nauseum on here, I'm sure, but the early photos were confusing, like they were fisheye lensed or something. I've always wondered how Galvatron ties his shoes. You can't reach anything on the ground there.
With that massive
He
rack.
drops if he drops a quarter on the ground, he's just staying there.
asking
Some
the
of-
difficult questions.
Seen his
Yeah,
promo
that's
tennis for years.
I always
It's fun
thought with
here.
Megatron and Galvatron that the particle cannon and the fusion cannon thing isn't very practical because you're going to be knocking shit over all the time. You're going to be
All the
banging
time.
into things.
Yeah.
Reach down for something, you're never going to get anywhere near it. But they do look good together anyway.
Oh, it's an absolute Decepticon trifecta.
Yeah.
It just
You
the
have to have
colours are
them.
beautifully like the purple, the subtle different shades of purple across the three. It's what I would buy Transformers for. You know, not for characters, for the Pantone numbering system.
And this is why Decepticons are better. But well, that's a discussion for another
But
time.
that's
And
not
then
true.
we've got the latest movie version DLX statue figure, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, the 3-0 figure.
Yeah, I mean, it does look very impressive.
But does it? I
It does if you're
all
into the
the comic-
movieverse.
all the
Again,
Like amount of
comic-
fingers.
we have
couple
to
of weeks
remember,
ago.
Jamie, that for many younger fans, the movie verse is what they grew up with. So to us, we look at it and we might not be fans of it, but they are. So you know, those fans are going to be really excited about this, and
Yeah,
the detail on it's incredible.
But the thing is, it's like Paul said about a few weeks ago, is the playing mode is absolutely fantastic, but it's one of the most hideous looking bots from Bayverse.
He is that thing with
awful.
Bayverse that I think most of us in our little team anyway felt that it just with Bayverse designs, it's just a massive bits of metal. It doesn't even necessarily look
in the
like
film,
a
which
robot.
is annoying me. There's always bits falling off him, isn't there? Just
Yeah, 'cause
constantly
he's supposed to be
bits. I was
old,
like,
so
what
bits
bit's
fall
that
off.
that's just fallen off. Was that
It's
an
got a
important
walking
bit?
stick.
Yeah,
The-
yeah,
what-
his
what-
walking
what-
sticks.
stick.
Yeah.
It doesn't
The
make
nicest
sense
way to
because obviously
say it.
Megatron's been there since before everything else before, right? But things that fall off him. So
No, he's just a broken down Autobot.
I guess
But
he's
I
made
The
of
kindest
sterner
way to
stuff,
say it
though,
about
right?
Jetfire is he looks exactly the way he was designed to look.
Yes.
Hideously awful.
Now I've heard that he'll come apart and actually merge with their Optimus Prime.
Yes, I
That's
had actually
cool.
heard the same thing. that it's.
I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. That's piling shit on shit. But,
Oh,
but it
Do you know
will
what?
do
They're
it.
like the Hot Toys, aren't they? Of Transformers. There's going to be a market out there if you like the Bayverse and you like not transforming your toys. These are the toys are for you.
No, but I like Bayverse,
Shit
and that's crap.
statues.
That's just like hideous. It's almost like the person who designed it went, "I will never pick this," and Bayverse went, "Fantastic."
Yeah, love it. Nailed it.
Yes. It's like,
and then we go on to our third-party news.
My favorite.
Woohoo.
Here we are. So, first up, MMC Exodus, their version of IDW Getaway, is now starting to crop up. It was due January, February of this year, and hasn't quite made it out yet. But I have got this pre-ordered, so I am getting rather excited now, looking at these photos of it in hand.
I love Mastermind Creations. They make some of the best stuff.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people can gripe on them because they don't use a lot of paint, but I'm not one of those guys.
you could use more paint than Buddy Hasbro at times, so I think they're awesome.
Yeah,
I think
they've been going for a
sometimes can
while
be a
now,
nuisance.
haven't they?
What's
It's
that,
one of
sorry?
the very first kind of third part. They reformatted as one of the very first
Oh, they've been around a
ones to
while.
come along,
yeah.
and they've literally just gotten better and better and better, and just really defined what they do. I'm not a big fan of IDW, but I can see the engineering and the beauty within that toy.
And this is from a great mold. The hot rod or Rodimus mold is really a great toy.
What I really like about them is you feel like you've got a masterpiece quality figure which you can transform and not break.
Yeah.
And it's simplistic transforming. You know, it's like Rudy was saying, it's good engineering.
Yeah. Fits
They
a
are
good
my
chug
favorite.
scale as well, doesn't it?
Far too pointy.
Just
Way too pointy.
Just a bit bigger than Chug.
So MP then, I guess.
No, it's chug scale. It works de facto chug. It's a little bit tall.
It's like, Chug plus. Chug
Don't
plus.
make up your own size scale.
I just did.
If Paul can do it, we can.
I like that. I saw a customer this as well, which was the Sure Shot, which I thought worked very well. So it'd be really good if I don't know, Sure Shot as well. Like obviously, Hasbro haven't done one, have they? I think this is actually out to order. I mean, I ordered one. I got this from no.
This is my Lucas. You have to show off
hi,
Lucas
Lucas.
on the show. That's the law now. Right?
In England, we only have children called Lucas.
Yeah, we just call all our children Lucas. It makes life easier, and we all love Star Wars. Right,
Especially since you
go.
lose them all the time.
No, I was just going to say I've ordered this just from Terry's Fans Club. Right, it was I was flicking through, making an impulse purchase as you do, and then it came up at sort of £71. I was like, oh, that's cheaper. I thought, oh, combined delivery, that's cheaper than £79.99.
Oddly enough, I didn't order this, and I don't know why I didn't. So if I see it pop up at a store, I'll probably get it.
I'll be ordering it from Kapow.
Yeah, I've got my pre-order with Kapow at the moment, and I'm looking forward to that coming in. And I think that's the last photo of it there in the packaging. And then Alexis.
This is I am going to be an emotional wreckage at the end of this one. So this is X-Transbots version of Defensor. This is their Streetwise, which comes out, and everyone has got their Venusaur, and I've put mine together. Finally finished mine today after multiple hours and one small break, which has been repaired and a lot of pain. It looks really good, and the individual bottle imagine will be really good, but when you put it into combined mode, oh my god, just pray. But it's just due out. I think it's in May. I want to say May. I think it's in May, so you can pre-order it soon. No, I did actually know it's April. I emailed them. I emailed X-Transbots actually, or text them, and they did say come back to me. They came back to me and said, can't say yet, but we're hoping for next month on Fuzz. So I call it Fuzz. Okay. So yeah, May. Yeah, no price though yet. And then we've got Magic Square's next rendition, which is their version of Cliff Jumper, which my wife thinks it looks cheap compared to the Newage one. I think it looks like it's a better bot mode than the Newage, but I think the car looks pretty stumpy as well. But you get the accessories. So the tires there. So if you look at the previous photograph, sorry, quickly, the tires when you get the bot originally don't come on the actual car. You have to attach them, and that's the same with Bumblebee. They're rubber tires. and it does roll, which is pretty cool. And that'll be the same for this. So you've got to pop on the tires. It comes with 2 sets of tires as well. So they thought about that because the tires can wear over time because they're quite thin.
So is it platforming then? Is that not something that you thought?
No. They just don't put them on the vehicle, so they don't, I guess, stretch.
Lazy.
So
I think it's crazy.
You
though.
have to do it because they
Like,
can't be bothered.
what's going on with Magic Square and Newage? Like, as soon as one of them releases something, the other one's like, we're going to release it, and then
Yeah, but other companies do that as well. The Springer Wars in MP, that was notorious, wasn't it? Again, if you look at X-Transbots,
Springer Wars back in
Springer
Nam.
Wars.
but if you look at what
I
X-Transbots
remember
have done recently, just pointing at this, they waited. So I think there were two companies always used to go head to head. So Fanstoys always were notorious for if someone releases the mold and Fanstoys go, we're going to do this as well. They send out Digibash, right? X-Transbots waited, and now they're releasing their Springer, and now they're releasing their Galvatron, even though the other ones are quite well looked after. But there's still people excited about those molds, even though Coot was crap. So this is about £20. Comes out in April.
£20-ish.
Yeah, I put ish because I don't know
What the price is.
That's
That's what I did as well.
It said ish. It said £20. I did the conversion. I thought that sounds quite cheap. How much was Bumblebee? Can't remember. Never mind. Anyway, haven't got time.
But, I look at that and I just think the chug version, which cost about £16, it just looks better.
Yeah, I think the Chug version is a really good version of that.
But
toy.
it is tiny.
It's a good-
Remember, it is tiny. This thing here is absolutely. This is MBK. So this is huge. This is about 20 inches.
Yes, this is one of my most anticipated upcoming third-party purchases.
Go on, Kate. You take this one then.
Well, it's from NBK, right? And I don't know that they've done anything before. I know nothing about them, but it's apparently 19 and a half inches tall in robot mode and upwards of 3 feet long in its rifle mode. I will have it, and it will hang right up there.
Is that because it's a
let me
gun?
correct that. I will have it if it's not absolutely ridiculously overvalued.
They say
so-
in the UK they might not get this because it's a gun. The way it transforms into a gun, it looks quite realistic.
In South
Quite
Carolina,
realistic.
it's
That looks
required.
like a goddamn killing implement.
MBK have done a Devastator. You can get MBK's Devastator on the second-hand market. It's about 15 inches.
I think it was like a knockoff of the Generation toy, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. This is their own design, obviously. But yeah, you can get one for about 90 quid, I think. So MBK aren't overly expensive. They're like a fourth party, aren't they? So
If
It
this
looks
is
incredible.
somewhere
Like,
around
looks absolutely
250,
incredible.
I'm getting this. I love that.
It does seem very American to me. Forgive my stereotype there, but yeah.
No, I'm okay with that.
it looks like the rifle, the sniper rifle out of Halo, doesn't it? Like
What do you think a
one-
British version would be? I don't know.
You know what I'm
Gold Puffs.
surprised by?
A
I'm
musket.
surprised they did. I'm surprised they didn't make this into a Voss-like character.
Well,
Yeah,
I
but-
thought, is this a version of Voss? Is it supposed to kind of have
I
some
don't
kind of
know that it
stylized
is.
version?
That'd be cool.
But I'm surprised they didn't do that. But I
Imagine that.
want that very badly.
Sort of like 1/12 scale version of Voss, and like you can get the rest. You get the rest of them. So I agree. I agree with Rudy. UK version musket or maybe a bow and arrow.
And then this is from MMC, so it's Lady Eris. And at first, because it was released or revealed on April Fool's Day, there was that thing where a lot of people were like, well, this isn't real, is it? And there are actually pre-orders for it. It does appear to be real. So it's
If it's not
essentially-
real, I deserve a refund.
Exactly. It is essentially a female, I don't want to say a female version, but a female interpretation of Tarn.
It's got the
Cool.
two guns, the two different
It's
styles,
got
isn't it?
the double fusion cannon, and
Yeah.
it does look very cool.
And it's an exclusive, isn't it? Planet
It
Steel.
is a PSX exclusive.
Yeah.
So from
Is
their
it?
Planet Steel Express store.
Shit, better get in there.
Is the only now. That being said, I've talked to a couple of American retailers, and they're trying to get it. Problem is, if it comes to retailers, the worry is that they're going to have to pay a premium and then
Pass that on.
push that premium over along.
Yeah.
So I would recommend going to Planet Steel Express and ordering it. It came up to about, with like expedited shipping, was $140. And it's supposed to be around 9 inches tall. So it's not like reformatted. It's not their chug scale. It's going to be more masterpiece scale. And from talking to one of the designers at Mastermind Creations, this is definitely the beginning of a brand new line. The
Cool.
Infinity. So I would not be surprised to see a full DJD reimagined and then more.
Really cool. The tank.
Oh,
man
wow,
looks
you
like
came,
the,
came
you
females.
came prepared, Kato.
Oh, I have been talking about this figure for like since it got announced yesterday. I went on and started messaging the. I don't know if I can throw him under the bus on here. Maybe he shouldn't be telling me stuff. But one of the designers who really didn't have anything to do with the line, but he has a prototype figure that he was showing, and from what he said, completely new line. Definitely going to be more figures. So this will be the 4th Mastermind Creations line because they've got reformatted Ocular Max, the new line that whatever they're calling with the Star Convoy. I forget what that line's going to be called. I cannot remember what that was. And then Infinity. This one I'm really looking forward to.
It's strange that they're going bigger, though, isn't it?
Yeah, this will be right in line with their Ocular Max masterpiece scale stuff. So
That-
it's like I'm stoked for it.
that reminds me of the Mammoth tank from Command and Conquer.
Mm.
The
You
dual
got a
cannon.
video about that?
Oh yeah, hang on. Let me just log into iCloud.
Anyway,
But how great is it that they didn't just make her look like Tarn again? Like they didn't make the alt mode just another Tarn alt mode. It's a unique tank and a unique robot mode. I love, one of my passions in collecting is stylized Transformers. I love a good stylized bot, something that hints back to where it came from, but something brand new. And this tickled my fancy.
I'm thinking of getting it. It's just a bit tall. I'm just not sure.
it's a fembot as well that isn't
Well,
like
I'm
over
open to
feminized.
that.
So it's you know, you do look sometimes and you think they're trying to make it look too much like the typical female form, and then this just looks like a robot.
Pads at the back. That's
Well,
it.
yeah, massive shoulder pads, 80s style.
It would go
Like
really
Dallas.
good next,
Yeah.
really well next to Nisi, I reckon. And I've got Nisi. I've also ordered the APC blue oversized RC. I think it is like. So I think they would go quite well together.
But don't you see the cat face? She's got the cat ears. It looks like to me. If you go back a photo, you'll see this sort of cat face. Or am I reading too much into that?
I suppose.
It really
Little bit.
does. Yeah, I see it. Like if you cover her actual robot face up,
Yeah.
it looks like a panther.
Wow. Well, meow.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's good enough for me. I'm going to get it. I'm going
Sold.
Sold.
Keep going. What else is in the news?
So that's released in May, supposedly. And then in the Exodus instruction book, we had a few more photos of, well, Alexis, you explain it.
So if you're going to buy Getaway, MMT Getaway in the booklet, there's a little spoiler of their version of Blades, which comes out soon. So. Which looks pretty good. I've got their version of the Combaticons, and they are my favourite version of the Combaticons. So, actually, I've got just film of robot mode. So I think this will look really cool. It's just really cool. Just in there, so you can see it's the Getaway instruction booklet.
All
There's
in.
a little teaser there already. So, and then we can move on to a New Age version of Optimus Prime in his gay pride mode. So he's there for the next movement. No, I'm joking. No, this
Taste the Rainbow.
that's it. So it comes out April. Yeah, that's right, £60. And everyone's saying it looks very similar to the MP44. It's got very stylized to that. So
Yeah, look at that.
It's exactly the same thing.
Look at the legs. They are the
It's,
same.
it's exactly the same toy.
Do you think New Age just have a magic shrinking machine that they just get MPs and go, whoop, put that up for 50 quid?
I'm sure it's all totally legal.
being it works the opposite way.
Yeah, China are so strict on their copyright rules.
Yeah.
There you go. Very nice. And that's all of the news up to now.
All of the news. Right, okay, so next is Fans, Toys, Innuendo. Here we go. So what we do is we share a picture. So can you all see the legend
Oh
in
yeah.
front of you? So we share a picture, and all you have to do is guess what was the Transformer behind it, the original one. So Fanstoys must be official. They do get a little bit excited about their Transformers, as they should. They're Fanstoys collectors. Got this Macho Man from Omar Primus for $130.
$130 is quite cheap for Fanstoys.
We don't know which one it is.
No, I
It's
know.
a
I'm
Macho
just saying.
Man
Jim,
It could be the
Prime,
flight stand, the
or it is
Fanstoys
Prime, I
flight
should say.
stand they released
Okay.
last year.
So it's not. So I mean, if you look at Thomas, it's like two. Yeah, if you're talking bucks, we're talking Thomas is like 300 odd, maybe a bit more. So it's trying to work out which one it is. Hang on a second.
Gotta be a mini bot.
So what's the name of
Ooh.
this wrestler?
That's a good shout. there.
Brawn.
Brawn.
That is
Brawn.
Macho
Gotta
Man.
be
Randy.
Wow, that was quick. Right, let's have a look. Da, 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 da.
Yay.
Boom.
Much
Well
quicker than
done.
usual.
Well, that's
Yeah,
because
it was,
it actually
isn't
had a link, a proper link. Paul did it properly this week.
Did I?
Is that because we have someone who knows about, third party?
No,
KO's
No,
knowledge.
it was someone. I don't do Fanstoys, but it was someone that knows that Fanstoys cost more than most. So if it's $130, it's got to be small.
But normally, I mean,
Fuck logic and knowledge. We're not having him back.
Yeah, that's-
Dangerous.
right. It's on to pickups. Who would like to go
That's
first?
10 minutes of good discussion lost there.
Oh no, I'm fired. I'm out.
Peak of the
That's only a bit more sharing for.
show. We got no rude jokes made.
Oh, spent 2
Terrible.
weeks looking for that, put it together.
Do it over. Do it over.
I can't. That's like Lisa's like, come on, spend time with your kids. It's like, no, I've got to get this
No.
Fanstoys Innuendo nailed.
you,
Kato's on this
priorities
week.
it was
lead
too
to
obvious with the
priorities.
Macho Man. Normally, you'd have a picture. Well, my pen.
Because you are going to do your pickups.
Okay, I said just say normally.
You've had a
normally
haircut.
yeah, I have a haircut.
Oh,
Wife did it.
good
Normally,
job. Well done, Sam.
you normally put if it was Macho Man, you put a picture of something completely random. I don't know, just
It's the motivator.
a hippo in a tutu or something, and then go, "What's this Macho Man?" I
Mr.
go,
Humphreys from Are You Being Served?
Exactly. I just have
A macho man.
It doesn't make
Don't
any
listen to them,
sense at all.
Kato. It's always like that. Very slick oiled machine. You can always guess it
To
from
be
the clues.
fair, all I said was mini bot.
Yes.
Well, a macho mini bot. I guess that's
Right.
what did it for us.
Come on,
Anyway,
pick
go
up.
on, Alexis.
What did you
What
get
you
this
got?
week, Alexis?
I got a second double dealer because I've got the upgrade kit for the first one. I've got a second upgrade kit coming in the next week or two for the second one. So, yeah, that's it.
Did you get that cheap then? Because I know you were looking for one that wasn't. Because they've all the prices for double dealers seem to have gone up.
I got it
Rather
with
than
I got it with Knock and Scar. I paid £42 with Knock and Scar. So
That's not bad.
no box though, but I've got another box. So whichever one I don't want,
you
I can
don't-
box up.
I was going to say you don't need the box necessarily, do you?
No,
Okay,
I'm
I'll
a
go
box
next then.
holder.
So just one this week, which wasn't Transformers at all, but I keep doing it. It's a Black series. Princess Leia, Hoth. Hoth is my favorite part of the Transformers series when they're on the planet Hoth. What's awesome about this is from Ed, and it's for free. So he ordered one, and I think got sent one, but it took ages to turn up. And he said, "Oh, do you know when it's going to turn up?" And they sent another one, and they both turned up. And he said, "Oh, look, sorry, I'll send it back. You've sent two by accident." They said, "No, don't worry, you can keep it." So he texted me and said, "Do you want a free Leia?" And I said, "Yeah, I always take free Leia." And he did send it across to me. So thank you so much, Ed, which is Bumble Jumper 79. It was jolly good of you. Right, Andy, how did you get on this week?
Now you're in his pocket.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm just being. Go downstairs and
Why choose this moment, son?
you're supposed to be in bed. Anyway, right, where were we? Oh yeah, pickups. So the first pickup I'll show off is one that everybody loves, which is our
Except
Kingdom
Paul.
Huffer. What an awesome alternate mode as well. You know, that truck mode. Those fists don't bother you at all. They're just, you can barely even notice they're there. Isn't that right, Paul? But he
No,
is.
it's like
He's a lovely
substituting
bot.
flesh to a robot.
He's well chuffed.
He's a lovely bot, and yeah, I'm definitely glad I picked him up. I'm not really that bothered about a lot of the ones currently in the kind of Kingdom Deluxe line, probably because they're Beast Wars, most of them, and so but he'll go very nicely alongside Inferno there. So there you go. The other things I picked up. So from our friend Chris Mead, I got the Metropolis set, which I was after. So I'm really chuffed to get that.
And that's Blaster there.
Who doesn't love Ass Blaster? Isn't that right, Jamie?
But
But
the rocket on the right.
normally I'm all about the bot modes. But vast majority of my displays is in robot mode. But Sorry, I'll just amuse myself by saying bot mode just after Ass Blaster. But anyway, I'm going to convert them into their alternate modes to make that little mini rocket base. And then I've got from a friend of the show, RJ Callahan, I got the new Siege Micromaster Countdown. So I'm going to put him with that to have give him his little rocket base with the others Micromasters as well. But yeah, I was really pleased to get that. And then things started getting a little bit weird. So this wasn't actually sent to me. So strictly speaking, this isn't my pickup, because this actually, the next thing I'm going to show, arrived addressed to my daughter, Emily. But it was sent kind of as part of the Crap Transformer Corner that we do, Kato, where I receive a crap transformer, and there shall be more of those in this little segment. But what I got sent, I've got to be honest with you before I show it, it's really not that bad. And actually, I've been reading it, so there's a clue, reading it with my daughter, and it is the My Little Pony collected volume. There it is, volume 1, I believe, because they made a second one.
Ooh.
And when it arrived and we opened it up, she was chuffed, because my daughter loves My Little Ponies, and she started really taking an interest in my Transformers. And I was looking at it thinking, who sent me this? This is a bit random. And then my wife found out, but it wasn't sent to you, it was sent to Emily. And I thought, this is going to be terrible. And you open it up and it's actually got lots of kind of random characters who you might not expect to appear in it. It is very kiddified. I mean, I'm not going to lie about that. It's, you know, my daughter can sit and listen to it, me read it to her, and she kind of can follow along and enjoys it. But there's some quite good in-jokes. So on the first page of the story, there's a little segment, if you can see that there, where that pony is moaning about crap crossovers and how pointless they are. And then the news vendor basically says, maybe it's just for a bit of fun. You should calm down. And that's kind of a little bit of a dig at the people they obviously knew would have a go. But yes, so that turned up, and it turned out it was from Liam. And he bought it because he knew she'd like it, and he thought it'd be funny for me to have to show that off. So there you go.
Well done, Liam.
The other things I received from friend of the show again, Paddy from Primetime Toys. Paddy sent a crap transformer, which was this Cyberverse Windblade. But despite the fact it's, you know, it's a bit crap, it's so flimsy, the head, I mean, that doesn't turn. If I turn that, that's going to break. My daughter, again, has claimed this. She absolutely loves it and carries it around with her a lot. No, it's not. I don't think it's terrible. I think I've had worse crap transformers sent to me, as you're about to see in a moment, but she really loves that. So thank you very much, Paddy. You've made my daughter very happy, because she loves that now, and she's also keeping her away from my Transformers, so that's a relief as well. And then the last thing I received, my wife put out a call on our Facebook group with suggestions for crap Transformers to buy for Crap Transformer Corner, because a lot of these crap Transformers are actually bought by people I know who spend their money to get these things just so I have to show them off on YouTube. And the latest thing that arrived was suggested by numerous people, and that is this.
Yeah.
Now, I'm relieved.
dear.
I'm relieved that she told me she only paid
Wow.
£2 for it. So, I mean, I still think she got ripped off, but only paid £2 for it. But this was suggested by numerous people as one of the biggest hunks of crap you could possibly get from the Transformers universe. And I would agree with them. It is just awful. It's, I mean, this one's
It's been
not
a
in great
long
shape, but
time
it's
since
still-
I've seen that.
I mean, it's just, look at that. It's like a bobblehead. There's not much in terms of redeeming features for it. It looks weird. I don't get where they were coming from this, and I know it's not my era. So, you know, again, there'll be somebody sat watching this who will absolutely love this figure or
What
love
the
this
hell is
line.
it?
They
and they're like,
won't.
"It's
It
great."
looks like it's got a face on the
They
chest.
won't.
Oh,
It's like weird,
it's
like weird
just,
reflection. It's just
oh my word. It's
don't,
just,
don't,
yeah,
don't
it's
move
not-
it back, move it back,
It's
move
not
it back.
great. I'm sure there'll be somebody who's sitting there going, you've mistransformed it. You've mistransformed it. The only amusing thing I found about it, it's got a little movable arm thing. So if you get the arm in the right place, you can just...
You can chug away.
So you can masturbate.
and
Brilliant,
that's,
nice one.
that's it. That's it.
Chug,
That amused
chug.
my wife no end.
Wankerbot.
But it's, yeah, I mean, crap Transformers wise, it's one of the crappiest I've ever
Wank
had
by
the
name,
misfortune to.
wank by
So that'll
nature.
go straight into the crap Transformer box. That will never
Why
be
is it a
touched.
box, Andy? Why is it not a shelf?
Because
I want to
do
see them
not
on display in the
all of
background.
crap
A
Transformers.
line.
Some
all
of
the
them
crap
get displayed,
Transformers.
as you know, and I still have
DJ face.
my favorite Rock Lord There it is.
Rocky.
Oh wait, sorry, that's the actual rock. But I do have the Rock Lord. What else did I get? The wide load, G1 wide load, and you know, a couple of them do make it, but that one, oh dear, yeah, that is a crap transformer. So all those people who suggested it, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Nice.
HasLab Unicron would have been a nicer suggestion.
Yeah, what a crap transform. Cool, brilliant. Kato, how did you go on this week? Did you have any pickups? Anything nice?
This week was absolutely dead. I did get a gift that I have to pick up from the post office that was sent from a friend of the channel. It's the DNA Designs bludgeon that I've been wanting that one, and he was kind enough to send it to me. I think that's awesome. But overall, it's been a pretty dead week. Ask me next week, and I might actually have some stuff.
No problems at all. Rudy, did you manage to pick anything up this week?
Nothing this week, but I did grab. It's just some stuff for show and tell I've picked over from the last few weeks,
Cool.
just to be prepared,
Do it.
because I've got a couple of videos on them, and then I've actually got something robot related. But
All
first, I'll show off some action figures, since whenever I come on this show, I don't show Transformers, but we do have something robot related. So we have got a T800 from the Kenner inspired NECA line.
Those look
Pink
amazing.
t-shirt and everything, just like the original 1992 toy. That's a robot, right?
It is.
Oh, it's cybernetic organism. We should get Andy in to do that in a sort of German accent.
And then I got this a few weeks ago, and I only just took it out of the box about a week ago. But there is a video on it. So that is the Primaris Ultramarines Intercessor. And that's a game changer for me. That's 7 inches of fully articulated, geeky Warhammer goodness.
Does it not feel wrong to you because it's so big? I mean, you're used to the little miniatures.
I think that's why I like it, because it is so extremely bigger and way kind of out of scale. And, you can't pose those miniatures. And I quite like to keep action figures, and like my other hobby is like Warhammer. It's quite nice to keep them very separate. So I enjoy painting miniatures, but I don't want them to do anything else.
Are you ever going to paint the large ones to put on like different insignias? No.
I want those as toys. I don't want them to be artistic pieces. I want them to be fully playable toys. That's how I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
It's nice that it comes painted as well.
It's incredible that you can get them as, you can, get the grey artist proofs ready to do whatever you want. And that's incredible for certain collectors, but I don't need that. It's already done for me how I would want it.
Oh, okay.
And then, as I said, we do have proper robot goodness. We have got Buggy Robo from Action Toys, Machine Robo's Revenge of Kronos, or as the keen-eyed amongst you, you will know it as Buggy Man from the Challenge of the GoBots.
And you said to me when like an after show that it's part of the Transformers line, isn't it? Or
well, Hasbro bought up Tonka and all the GoBots stuff, back in the early 90s. So, but they never really got hold of Machine Robo. They got GoBots and bits and pieces. So I think, there's the opportunity when things got lost or they didn't keep up the names of certain things, other toy suppliers came along and were able to bring, miniature masterpieces of GoBots or Machine Robo, Revenge of Kronos. But in the grand scheme of things, GoBots were, included in the giantness of Transformers.
yeah.
Those have
But
always
yeah,
been
it's
tempting.
super cool. It's fully articulated. It goes really tiny when you put it into its beach buggy mode. It comes with a ghetto blaster.
Oh yeah, I can see it extends out.
So cool.
I was just thinking
He
that
is-
gun
he's-
looked
he's-
awesome.
He's
I
like
can see
Peter
the gun
Comer's
blasting
distant
now.
cousin. Sorry, Paul.
No, that's fine.
Say again, mate.
Cool.
That's great.
And that just goes on the vehicle, I presume.
Yeah, it goes on the back.
And how much was he?
He was a $39.99.
Oh, that's not bad, is it? In this masterpiece
Oh,
size
you
as
know,
well.
for
great.
It's
Rudy,
four
damn
or
you.
5 inches. But yeah, it's super articulated. It's really cool. It's a pick up and play. You know, I did VOs inspired by Ed Drew's, bit at Christmas where he has a therapy bot. And my therapy bot used to be Steam Robo. And then this is kind of the same thing. It's you pick up and play with it and transform it backwards and forwards, and it's just fun.
I'm looking at them now. I hate you, Rudy. I don't.
So
Though. I love you.
I just, you know me. I'm not the. Well,
I
I'm a huge Transformers fan, but I like so many facets, and GoBots and Machine Robo is just one part of it for me.
I still want the full size Psykill.
Full size Cycle, yeah.
Oh man, I want that.
Should have got that when it came out because they are hard to
Yeah.
get hold of, and
I
the
want
prices
the
are
one
silly.
that has the. I want the one that has the swappable face. That
Yeah.
has the more cartoon accurate face.
The Robo Stubble.
That's right.
My friend always used to have the original one, because GoBots used to come in 2 sizes back in the day. You used to have the miniature ones, and then sort of like the sort of almost like 6-inch figures.
Super.
I remember the Cycle, the super one. The wheels went on his back, and the miniature one, the wheels detached and parts formed onto his shoulders like they did in the cartoon. And I was like, I always wanted one of those because I never had one. I had the leader one in blue, so it was a repaint of that, and then my friend had the Cycle one, but I've never seen one. So it's like, nostalgia kicks in, right? And it does. And yeah, GoBots were cool. And I always remember when they used to go to the dump, I've said before, the scrapyard, and there was that thing on 2 wheels, like almost looked like a T-Rex, whatever. Used to try and eat them, didn't it? That whenever I used to go to if I saw a scrapyard in real life, it used to scare me. Like big trucks scared me because of that, because it made the rumbling noise, obviously.
Oh, cool. All right. So who's next? Jamie, how did you go on this week?
Yeah, I got Monster Hunter this week for the Switch, so I'm quite happy with that. So that's good.
Have you played it yet?
Yes, I've been playing it quite a bit. I quite enjoy it. It's quite good.
Better than Witcher, would you say, on the Switch? Or Witcher?
Very, very different stylized games. But what I would say about the Monster Hunters, it's definitely been very optimized for the Switch. When you're using the maps, although the maps are quite smaller, there's no loading times, it's all very streamlined, it's all quite smooth. There's not even much need for the tricks where you would go for a sort of smaller cut, crevice, which is a loading trick. There's not even much of that. It's all quite streamlined, quite fast, using zip lines to fly up. There's different levels in the maps, low, high, so very good, just nice and easy. And I would say the skill sets are much easier to utilize than the previous Monster Hunter games, which are always very sort of like complicated. Almost felt like you were, in charge of a remote control car at times and trying to make it go the direction of where the monster is so you can hit it. Now it feels much more dynamic and easy to control.
Sounds like Zelda, almost like a modern version.
Jamie.
Sorry, I couldn't hear. There's 2 people talking at once.
Sorry. I was saying I have a question for you, Jamie. I was looking at getting that for the PlayStation 4 today. Like I was going through I'm very tempted to get that game because I love the concept of it. I've never played it. Would you?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
download it when I get done here. Yeah, I was scrolling through and I wanted to get it today because it's like $20 on sale right now on PlayStation, and I was like,
that's really good.
Very tempted because I'm too old. I don't like overly complicated games anymore. If it gets too complicated, I'm gonna throw it out the window.
See, this is Monster Hunter Rise. It's the next version after, but each version is getting, I wouldn't say more simplistic, getting more user-friendly, more time-saving quality control thing. It's getting better. And there's different monsters. So each version you get, it's almost like a different game in the sense you're in a different environment, a different locale. So it's good like that. So you're not missing out.
The way you described it sounded almost like a Zelda game, like Ocarina of Time sort of thing. Like when you go.
No, it's not. No.
Does it give you nightmares?
The open map, I mean, like in like the seamless play.
I wouldn't say so, but I would say sometimes you get a wee bit of a fight, especially in Monster Hunter World for the first time. You know?
Yeah, it gives you nightmares. Jump scares. Playing it late at night with the windows open.
Yeah, there's one thing it's a bit, and that's Monster Hunter World, but yeah, it's quite cool. The other thing I got this week, which is well, actually I got this a couple of weeks back. It's for the Micromasters, my G1 vintage Micromasters, which is the Micromaster Cannon Transport, and there's the 2 bots that go with it as well. So this has completed my Micromaster vintage collection. I'll just share a picture of this just now.
The whole collection.
Yeah,
The whole lot.
Yeah, so that's
Oh no, I can see CJ face. What? Fuck, you lied. You
Just
tricked
absorb
me.
it, Paul.
Lured me
Absorb
into
it and
it.
enjoy it.
You literally he sucked you in, Paul, and then boom.
That was the
Broken
trick.
my face.
Yeah, so there. So yes, this is the Micromaster Cannon Transport with Cement Head and Terra Fed, or Terra Tread, I should say. You know, so this was the last one to complete the G1 vintage collection. I had them before. I had the main vehicle before, but it was trying to get the extra parts. But lucky enough, I was able to find a complete version again, and it was quite cheap. I got it from Transformers UK sales forum. I think it was the UK Unlimited one, done by Davo actually, and it was from Europe. So I actually got it all in about £65, and it was about €18 for like transport. So it was a very good price. Much cheaper than I would see in eBay or even get from the typical Transformer forums.
Lovely stuff.
So there you have Cement Head and then Cheddar Fed. That's the way I've seen it, sort of like according to the instructions, but I don't really like the way like Cement Head's done there. I prefer them like down there where they rotate the back.
Thank you. I was going to say who's who, but you've explained that. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, looking at that, you know, it's just the worst thing about these sort of old vintage Micromasters is that sometimes the connectors break off. So it's just good to find out that both the connectors work quite well and are not tight at all. You know, so I'm always worried, because if it's too tight, what I might do is, you know, take a little bit of the plastic off, you know, just sand it a little bit to make it a little bit smoother. But I didn't need to do anything like that. Excellent. The good thing about this sort of like Micromaster Transport is it's a very good one and very nice colours. And you can just do just so much with it. There's so many connotations you can come up with, and it's just like an easy, fun thing to play with. As I said before, you can do it in so many different ways if you wanted to.
Those were always a great idea. I'm glad that Siege and Earthrise brought those back a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Imagine getting that as a kid. Like, it's such a good toy to have as a kid. Like, there's so much play. I like it when Transformers are fun.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I could have really taken much more photos just to show the different configurations you could do. Because with the other, some of the transports you really can't do that. With this one, he kind of invites you to be able to do that. I mean, there's the sort of generic sort of pose you can have in the vehicle if you want. But, you know, I much prefer it this way with all the guns facing one direction. And, you know, so that kind of goes against the instructions, but that's the way I like to have it displayed. So stop
That's
sharing
a fun looking toy.
But I'm just so happy to have it completed and to have it in really good condition as well. So I'm just delighted that my G1 vintage Micromasters are now complete and done and dusted.
Well done, sir. And you can do a photo of all of them together.
That's exactly what
I might do eventually at some point when I have enough space and time. But yeah, I'm just happy to have it completed.
You've done quite a journey
next
across the whole sort of Micromaster range. What would you say was the moment that it was a one that stood out for you as that when you got it, you were like...
The Cannon Transport, because as I said before, I actually bought the original main vehicle the first time. I'll just get that a second. You know, I mean, I knew nothing about it. I didn't know that this was a mismatch of Micromaster parts. So that came from another transport. And I had the two vintage Micromasters, which were purple. So the guy who put it together put it looking as if, you know, to match the colour schemes. And when I saw it on eBay, I didn't really know much about the Micromaster transports because there wasn't really a thing that came out in the UK for me, or I've seen them in much time. So when I first bought it, I bought this thing, and it was only after I bought it I looked into doing more research into G1 Micromasters, and I found out actually it wasn't the complete transport. So yeah, so it was about doing my research properly, because I do see a lot of groupings sometimes which are mixed matched and are not the complete sets.
People don't know though, always as well. They just find bits and then go, oh, there we go. Looks like it's the right color. Put that together. So, but I'm really happy for you.
It did look good, and I did get it for like £40. And as I said before, it did come with the tank ones, which they made the updated versions of. I've forgotten the name, but Andy's got them.
Cool. Did you have anything else, sir?
That's it.
Brilliant. Right. Now on to Rohan's Corner. Over to you, Rohan.
Rohan.
Throw hand. Hello, everyone, and thank you for that, gentlemen. Welcome back to Rohan's Corner. And this week is the culmination of my two-part special on characters from the past. I'd like to come back to the main screen. We talked about last week the Decepticons, Predacons, evil characters. This week I'm talking about the Autobots, or Maximals, or other good characters, as well as the non-Transformers characters I'd like to see again in an upcoming TV show. So without further ado, let's go into it. And we start off with Transformers Cybertron Vector Prime. And why do you say I want to bring this character back? Well, that's pretty straightforward. A time-traveling character is always interesting, and the fact that Vector Prime was a very well-spoken and old guard kind of character, had a great sword and a cool ophthalmology as well, which didn't get showcased very much in the show. But I really like the character. I think he could have a lot more depth. The way he died in Cybertron was sad, and I'd like to see some more history from him before that whole sequence occurred, and maybe he could travel back in time before that or something. The time travel element gives it so much to play with. Then we got G1 Sandstorm, and as I mentioned earlier, the buddy capability with Octane would be really cool, but also his enthusiasm, the element from Paradron. I'd love to hark back to some of those elements because I think that was really cool. And again, another really nice triple changer with a unique paint scheme in orange. I'd like to see Sandstorm back in some way, shape or form. Generation 1 DevCon. This character only had one episode, but he actually made a big impact on me and a few other people in Transformers history. And I think it's purely down to the fact that DevCon had this huge backstory which they didn't utilize about he'd been out off Cybertron, where he'd been for millennia, we don't know. He'd become a bounty hunter, and he'd had partners in the past. Maybe he could have had other Autobots or Decepticons who joined up with the characters that we saw on screen later, or vice versa. Maybe some who'd left the Generation 1 or other timelines had gone on to join with DevCon and join his bounty hunting. Who knows? But there's so much depth to that character that could be explored further. I'd love to see what happened to him after Generation 1 as well, G1 Trailbreaker, I just like the character. His one-liners, his ability with the force field, his really slow and downtrodden attitude. I just didn't think he got enough screen time in G1. He didn't get enough development, and I'd like to see him come back, because we've had characters like Prowl and others like Ironhide who've come back in different guises, but we've never seen Trailbreaker get another chance. G1 Blue Streak in the same guise, very funny character, got a lot of jokes in. Not all of them were well received by the Autobots in Generation 1. I'd like to see more from Blue Streak. Again, one of the Datsun brothers, very cool alt mode, and was supposed to be a gunner. We never really saw a lot of that, but had a lot of weaponry, and I'd like to see that showcased in the future with that character coming back in on screen. We've had toys of him, but we haven't had character. And G1 Windcharger. I think this character was, again, one of those mini-bots who didn't get a lot of screen time in the couple of episodes where he did get to the forefront. I really liked him. He seemed to be intelligent. He seemed to be, again, well-spoken, and he had something to offer. And I'd like to see G1 type of Windcharger coming back, again, in a small Autobot guys, so he could be a scout or some sort of mini leader there, if that makes sense. And that brings me on to the non-Transformers characters I'd like to see. There's only two, but from Generation 1, King Nergil, who was the leader of Subatlantica, the sunken world that was found and actually joined up with Megatron's forces to rise Subatlantica back to the surface of the Earth and try and take over the Earth. That character was brilliant. He had so much cynicism, so much evil thought process. He tried to overthrow Megatron several times. Starscream never trusted him. And at the end, we don't really know what happened to him. Did he die? We thought we'd see him again, potentially. I'd love to see that character come back again. Again, it doesn't have to be every episode prominent character. I'd just like to see one episode with him sprung in somewhere. Just showcase what had happened to Subatlantica. Maybe he managed to get off Earth and somehow comes back in a space episode where Subatlantica has now become a spaceship or something. And the last one, Beast Machine's diagnostics drone. If anybody remembers, this was Megatron's little drone who was helping him carry out his tasks and basically his lackey, but he was very funny. He was a little flying drone, didn't really see what he transformed into, was often getting beaten by Megatron and attacked, and again, well spoken, but I really like that character. So those are my 15 favorite characters from previous series that didn't get a lot of airtime. I'd like to see get more focus on in another series again. What do you all think? Who are your characters you'd like to bring back from an old series? Let us know. And for another week, I've been Rohan on Rohan's Corner. Back to the studio.
Hey boys, we've been rumbled. Well, let's bounce.
Thanks, Rohan. That was awesome. Right on to our discussion tonight, which was really just to have a chat. So we've got some awesome guests with us, Kato and Rudy. Both have your own channels. Got Kato's Collection and Rudy's Zoo's Science Fantasy Experience. On the tubes of you, thanks for coming on tonight. That's probably the first thing I need to say, especially Kato coming on all the way from America. It's a little bit earlier for you.
It was a long drive.
It was a long drive. We waited. We stayed up for you. Left the light on. Thanks for coming in. So,
made it past customs.
We did, yeah. We didn't have to pay that dreaded import tax for once.
No, good.
Just
Well,
Brexit.
we're going to send them back, aren't we? So,
Please do.
Right. So I'll probably let Andy take this away because he's got some questions which have come from the community. So we said you were coming on, and they sent some questions in. Some of them probably not as sensible as others, but there were some Transformers ones in there, I'm sure.
I'll take them all.
Take all the questions.
You totally haven't caught me on the hop because I've forgotten to get my phone out.
Oh, sorry, Andy.
I have a question then off the bat.
Sorry, I wasn't just sitting here with my phone. I was trying to listen to the conversation.
I have a question about that. So how did you come up with your theme song? Obviously, you've got your own personal intro. I love it.
That was all the work of the genius that is Junk Heap Dave. I completely ripped off the Figure Force and Rudy Zazoo and all those nice folks across the pond and hijacked Junk Heap Dave to do a theme song. It was funny. We were going through it and trying to come up with a tune to parody in order to do it. And I wanted Pole Position because it's such a rocking theme, Pole Position theme. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I did that for the Figure Force." I'm like, "Oh fuck." All right, next. Going through, and if you watch any of Rudy's videos, every once in a while he'll throw up a highlight reel of all the different tunes that Dave has done for him, and they're all brilliant. But he finally, after like maybe an hour or so of talking, I said, "Is there any that you haven't done that you've always wanted to do?" And he said, "Well, I've never done the Transformers theme." I said, "Well, what the fuck are we waiting so long for? That should have been choice one." So he did a quick Transformers theme, and then the Rejecticons, which we basically KO'd Transformers the show and and Figure Force merged them together in the US and made the Rejecticons. He also did one that is essentially the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme for us there. So I would love to take all the credit for that, but it is all the awesome Junk Heap Dave. He is fantastic.
Definitely.
Just on the subject of the Rejecticons, how did you guys get together? Were you just other YouTubers that started chatting to each other through the comments, or because we kind of met through the fandom actually probably on Facebook and then actually in person at TF Nation. And then from that, Paul suggested one, hey, why don't we do a podcast? And you know, here we are a year and a bit later sitting here doing this. But how did you guys get together?
We kind of started out in the comments. Like, we met in the comments of each other's videos because we started reasonably close to around the same time, at least heavily into Transformers. Some of the guys have had channels a bit longer, but it was all a kind of a chance meeting thing in the comment section. And then TFCon 2018, I guess it would have been, came around, and a lot of folks that we had met throughout doing the YouTube were all going to TFCon, and we couldn't. None of the four of us could not go, and we felt rejected. And somehow or another, one thing led to another, and terrible humor ensued, and the Rejecticons were born. And it's really just a lame excuse for four people to hang out.
Have you ever actually met each other? Like, real life, met each other?
I've only met Inu Tabi, who is a huge fan of Transformers the show, by the way. He made me
He's always in the comments.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah, he comes into the live chat sometimes.
Yeah, great guy. I met him in person just a couple weeks ago. But you know, Larkin's lair, he's in Hawaii. But Sardanus by 82, now they're all great guys. And Inu Tabi are probably about 4 to 5 hours away from me. Larkin is pretty much a whole day away from me. He's about as far from me and still in the United States as you can be. I'm in South Carolina, he's in Hawaii. But Inu Tabi is the only one that I've met in person, and that was a brief meeting at a Food Lion on my way home from a job. It was cool though. We plan on we're gonna have to get something together, possibly in June, for the majority of us to get together. I hope, if everything pans out well.
Yeah, definitely. I've always got a question. One I always love asking, like, before you started that, what were the YouTubers that used to watch all the time when you were a couple of years ago, before you started doing it, and what made you take the leap to start thinking, right, I want to do my own videos now?
Well, YouTubers I used to watch, I've watched Optimus Primal for a while. I love his like informative videos, his discussion vids, but like everyone else, Imgo, Piog, the standard YouTubers that basically, if I was interested in something, even when I wasn't collecting and I just wanted to see something, you type in so-and-so review, and the ones that come up under the list are always going to be like Piog, Imgo, all the folks like that, Bobby Skullface. So I was just like any of those and watch them. Then when I started getting a little more interested in wanting to do it, I found folks like Patriot Prime Reviews, Deluxe Baldwin, just some other, I don't want to say small channels, but smaller than the big guys. As far as what made me want to do it, let's see, what was it, 2017, 2018? I'm going to say 2018. I live in pretty much Hurricane Alley, so every once in a while we'll get a hurricane, right? Sure. Well, I had a job in retail, and we had a hurricane threat. I know it sounds like it happens all the time, but it doesn't. So we all had to evacuate. We went to the mountains in Tennessee for a week or so. Okay. When we came back, the business had shut down. They just said it was going to cost too much to stay open, and so I didn't have a job. And for some reason, I think Siege had just been kind of announced as being a new thing, and I was getting interested in, and I'd fairly recently watched Combiner Wars, the Machinima series, and like it or not, it got my interest back into everything, and just kind of all fell into place. And I tell people all the time, I did what any sane individual who lost his job and has no income would do. Bought some Transformers and got on YouTube. And the rest is history.
Have you always
Yeah,
collected just Transformers then? Or did you collect something before then?
Before that, it was mostly Marvel Legends. And I say mostly, I didn't collect a lot of anything. I got random bits and pieces when I always go through the toy aisle, whether I was collecting, before I collected seriously or not. I always stroll the toy aisle. I would
Why
get
I had kids. That's why I had kids. Just makes it a bit more or less creepy.
Yeah, I don't have kids, so creepy.
As long as you don't wear an anorak, I think you're okay.
They're just in the way in the aisle.
Yeah, push them
It's
out.
easy when you're out.
Mess
These
with
are
them.
the
That's why we have a trolley, so you can just, that's a ramming trolley.
Alexis is an expert at stalking people. You'll find this out.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
I would get Marvel Legends because I'm a big Marvel guy. Spider-Man especially. I would get anything Spider-Man related. And then when Siege was announced or teased, I was like, I can't collect everything, but Transformers was pretty near and dear to my heart growing up, and I was like, I'll get some of those. And now all the Marvel Legends are tucked away somewhere in the living room, and everything is Transformers.
I have a question, and it's quite a complicated question. I was thinking this out. Right. So thinking about the current, economic state of affairs in the Balkans and the American transatlantic interests, which are causing problems with the Balkans, resulting in increased involvement with the Russian Federation, do you agree that Cyclone is the Skywarp?
God, I wondered where you were going with that.
Oh, no.
You buried the lead. Well, based on all those economic impacts of the world, yeah, absolutely, Skywalker.
Yeah, good answer.
A question I had was, and like when you watch TV, so if I watch Friends or something, or any American television, I'll never think, oh, that's American TV. I just think it's television, and I always have done this. I don't know whether, because we had so much always do have so much American TV mixed in with our UK TV. It's never like when you see a program, you think, oh, that's an American accent, or that's an American program. It's just a program we like to watch or a program we like to do. The same thing transcends to YouTube. When I watch a YouTube channel, not the first thing I notice is someone's American or UK or anything. It's just that they're talking about Transformers. But I guess the other way around, how do you find it when you see like a UK Transformer show? Does it, or like Few or someone or one of those is it straight away? Do you think, oh, that's a UK accent, and then you start watching, or does it make any difference?
The Americans have a fascination with British accents, so that's or foreign accents in general, because it's like anything, it's different than what we're used to. The crazy thing is, like everywhere else, there's a million American and a million European accents. So, but TV is different. TV growing up, we didn't have access to a lot of shows that were UK based. Very few, like some on local, what would be PBS here, which would be like a standard educational channel that would also have other imported shows, mostly from the UK. But we get the Monty Pythons, the Mr. Beans, the
Doctor Who's.
Now as far as reviews go, I've never thought anything of it. If it was, I watch guys, some of my friends from Germany, Sentinel Bay reviews and Tim K's Nerd Crate, I'll watch them and I can't understand a lick of anything they say because it's pure German. But you can still kind of get the feel for what's going on. Reviews and stuff, I've never thought, oh, that's a UK reviewer or a UK based thing. That never even dawned on me. Shows were different because we would say things like, oh, I love British humor, I love British shows, because they were so rare and hard to come by here. You had to seek out that type of thing. What the earliest thing I remember watching that was inappropriate was Benny Hill. That was probably the earliest UK based show that I would watch. But it's different for television because it was much more hard to come by. YouTube's a different story. If I can enjoy watching it, never dawns on me that it's almost non-continental. YouTube is, where television was you had to seek it out to find it.
I've got a question. It was more of a scenario. Do you think in future all the different YouTube teams, you know, where you've got 4 or 5 reviewers, we could meet up in a sort of like Anchorman like scenario?
An Anchorman fight scene.
Yeah. Which side
I think
no touching of the hair or face.
yes.
I think that would be YouTube gold.
So I had a question for Rudy and Kato, which was, you guys do make quite a lot of diverse content generally. What do you enjoy making the most? What's, you know, obviously from the variety of different things you put out on the internet. So question for both of you guys.
Rudy, you take it.
The videos that I like making the most are, it's when I've got that real deep-rooted emotional connection, or it's tied into a very specific memory from like whatever, you know, the October the 21st, 1987 or something like that. I'll remember the date, or a Saturday and I'm buying a toy, or I've got a toy that's to symbolize that sort of memory. They're the videos I like doing the most, and they're the ones that I like happily sit in front of the camera and just talk. I don't even, sometimes I'll go into a video and it'll be 6 or 7 minutes and I haven't even shown the toy because I'm so busy or so passionate talking about the memory that it means to me, and then I ended up doing like a 3-minute review of the toy.
Did you script it?
It's like a 10-minute video, but there is
Do you
barely
script
any
it, or
toy
does it just
content.
come naturally?
I don't script anything. I turn on the camera and I talk.
See, I wonder if that's why your passion comes across, because when I was listening to you talk about your toys, the next thing I know, I was buying the almost complete G.I. Joe collection. It's like...
It's not as simple as I turn on the camera and I talk. If I know I'm doing a video, say I'll choose to do a video and I'll be at work, I will spend my lunch break kind of thinking, I'll give myself a structure. I won't just turn on and think, oh, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about this. A few hours before I'll think, right, I need to get from point A to point B to point C to point D. And it'll be kind of like, well, when I was 6 years old, I liked this cartoon. And then when I was 7 years old, I got a toy for it. I got rid of that toy when I was 13. So now when I'm 42, I'm going to buy that toy. It's like that. That's like the journey. And I'll have that kind of planned in my head. And then I'll literally just talk. I don't script anything. So I don't think I could.
Is Joe your favorite then? Is G.I. Joe your favorite? What would you say is the most passionate thing you want to? I know. I do. Yeah, when we do talk again on a few occasions, I know you get uber excited about a number of things. But
You're quite drunk, Alexis. So
I'm not quite drunk. But now or then?
No, usually when we talk to Rudy, you're
Action Force and G.I. Joe's up there.
That's
sure.
just a personal time.
I don't know. It changes from week to week or month to month. It also depends on what cartoon I'm watching at the moment. That tends to often influence what I will buy. But I haven't bought much vintage in the last year. The last thing I bought vintage-wise was actually a G1 Dinobot, and that was last year. Everything has been modern lately, or it'll be modern inspired by vintage.
Very good.
Cool.
Does that answer your question?
It does answer. Thank you very much. And then same question to Kate then. So what do you enjoy making? What's the most fun content for you? What do you go if you go? I'm gonna make this video this week, and it's like, I'm excited about it. What gets you going?
Don't say doing live shows with me, because then I'm going to look like a dick. Because I
love doing live shows.
I do love the live shows. So come on to that.
No, I love doing reviews because to me it's like show and tell with a friend at this point. Like I know that certain people are probably going to watch, but my favorite thing is the live shows, the present shows where I get to sit down, kind of like this, and talk to other collectors or YouTubers or fans or anything. That's probably the most fun I have, which oddly enough later on, as of the recording of this, I'll be talking
so obviously this is Saturday night, 7:00. You're going back in you're going back in time later, aren't you?
Friday.
Friday.
That's exactly right.
You're going back in time.
Going back in time to Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll be talking to Ultra Marcus.
What channel he's got? Just the most sublime well edited and funny individual.
So
So
good. But I love doing stuff like that. Of course, I've gotten the chance to speak to some really cool people. Like, I guess one of the coolest for me
Say it.
was
Say it.
Stan Bush. Stan Bush.
Oh, I was
Stan
going to
Bush.
ask you about that.
Was it twice?
once.
Was it twice?
Not
Twice.
Twice.
Not just
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it so
he?
much he came
I,
back
I
again.
think I think we've all seen it, haven't we? But how did you
Great.
prepare for that? Like, that's a biggie, man.
I
That's
did
not even your biggest video, is it? You got videos bigger than that. But how did you prepare
Yeah,
for
but
that? Video?
surprisingly, it's one of my least viewed.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's very odd, but it's just it's the same with Patriot Prime. Patriot Prime got the chance to talk to him, and he's like, well, "Why in the hell isn't this thing skyrocketing?" And it's not out of like ego. It's like, why don't people want to
Yeah.
see Stan Bush?
They just don't have taste anymore, do they? They just
It's
cigar
crazy.
scenes.
But that all came about because I became reasonably good friends. I'll say good friends with Bacon, who is the kind of the mod or the showrunner for tformers.com. That's not a plug. It's just
No,
what it is. And he was like, "Hey, we're going to do a convention similar to what Rudy has done in the past and the Figure Force has done. Everyone's been a part of it. We were going to do a convention during the pandemic and everything, and because other shows had gotten canceled. And hey, would you like to interview Stan Bush?" Yes, the answer is yes, I would. I thought I was going to do it on T-Formers channel. So I thought, yeah, I'll gladly, whatever you want me to do, I'll be glad to help, kind of thing. And then he sends me information on how to get in contact with Stan Bush. And I'm like, hold the fuck up. I am not ready for this. And that became, us kind of sorting everything out. And Stan was just so cool about it. And we hit it off. And it's really, really surreal. But like, it's really surreal that I got to do that. And then got to do it again when he released his new album, which was it was crazy. That will be just like, I love talking to everyone, but to be able to talk to someone who you've listened to in some way or another since 1986, it was very surreal. And what made it even more so, I wish he would have been more. I wish he would have acted more like a superstar and not been so cool, because it would have at least made my girlish laughter and red cheeks more reasonable than him just being like a really nice guy.
He's lovely.
And
he's down to earth.
he is so
he
cool.
did so TF Nation in UK had him over for a private concert, and it was 250 people. It wasn't that many people got to do it. It was the overnight. And again, it was a private concert, 200 people, 250 people got to see Stan. And then at the end of it, he comes in the bar and he drinks in the bar with us. And you're chatting to him and going,
A stalker's dream.
he was
That was the beginning of the restraining order.
Do you know, I was just thinking there, you said something like girlish laugh, but I noticed you and Rudy both have tattoos, so you're kind of like wild childs compared to us who are quite clean cut.
How do you know
That's
I've
just
got
like
a
an
lovely
observation.
butterfly down my back, and face on my back, which my wife says is beautiful.
You haven't seen Paul's tramp stamp.
Yeah,
Your slag tag,
Showing you.
slag tag on.
buy me 5 Stella.
Do you know, I think my favourite of the interviews that you've done was Bobby Valor.
Oh, that was a blast too.
That was
ranks right up
that
there.
was incredible.
Yeah, that was a cool thing. That I think I just reached out to him because I just figure at some point, you miss all the shots you don't take, right? What's the worst they can do is tell me to fuck off. So I just I reached out to him around the time that he was doing the Kickstarter for Valaverse for the Action Force stuff, which I was very excited for, and then gradually became even more excited for the harder it was to find Joe's. And I would watch stuff with him and watch other interviews, and I would hear him talk about how he was basically a fan that finally got to make some cool stuff that he had always wanted to. And you could tell that his goal was very much getting stuff to the fans. He wanted to do what he was creating for himself, what he would have always wanted. And all the problems that we have as collectors and issues with how something looks or feels, he wanted to fix in a line. If you could make a line of toys, what would you do? And that's what he did. And he agreed to come on, and got to talk to him about the Valaverse stuff, or the Action Force stuff coming out. The first one I pre-ordered was the Sergeant Slaughter, because that hits me on a lot of levels.
Actually,
what's that?
When I saw him.
Oh,
or
yeah,
G.I. Joe the movie, it would be called.
Yeah, that's right. But like I grew up fairly close to what could be considered the heart of wrestling country in North and South Carolina area. And I had the chance, I met Sergeant Slaughter. He came into a store that I worked at, and just as a customer, and we hit it off and talked for a while. And I told him, I remember sitting at the register, I was ringing him up, and he's a giant of a man when you stand beside him. I mean, those guys are always pretty big, but he was just, just awe-inspiring and super quiet, super calm. And I said, hey, I know you get this all the time, but I'm sure you get it a lot about your wrestling career. I said, but my favorite thing that I remember you for was on G.I. Joe. And he got such a kick out of that because it was different than what I'm sure he expected to get. So that when Bobby Vala said that he got the Sergeant Slaughter, I was like, oh, I'm definitely getting that. And then the more I learned and the more I researched what Bobby Vala stood for, and I was like, yeah, I'm all in. So I went all for it. That was a great time interviewing him. Really, really good guy. Really fan-oriented guy.
We need to get some guests on for Bots at Home, don't we? So, and we've got Bots at Home coming up. So obviously, all the conventions have been cancelled. But we've got some experience now of doing conventions online.
Yeah,
and
we've done like 3 now, haven't we?
Yeah, you guys have mastered it.
Yeah, we do one a month.
You've been part of it too, Kato. You were involved.
Yeah. Last time.
I just walk by and do stuff. You guys plan it all out.
So it's Rudy really plans it all.
Yeah,
sure.
I guess so.
We plan.
We just do 10 shots.
We just get drunk and
yeah,
Rudy
give credit where it's
get-
due.
talk about
I'm
things.
obsessive. I'm obsessive about it. I'm just like, oh my god, TFN's cancelled. Not that I was going anyway, but I cannot afford it. But I was just like, oh, but yeah, we got to do another one. I think it's just we are coming out of lockdown, but we should stay home. We should stay safe.
Is Sergeant Slaughter still alive? The wrestler that played him.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we don't
Yeah,
need to
he's
do a
still-
seance. We could do a proper interview.
That's right.
Sergeant Slaughter on.
Yes.
He still shows up at conventions. He was here at a local convention a couple weeks ago, I think. Yeah, he showed up to do some signing. I wish I had gone. I was out of town, but I would have. I would have loved to. I really want to meet him after that figure comes in because I want him to sign the box.
Because WWF and WWE is massive in the UK as well. It always has been, isn't it, since we were kids, like
Yeah.
Blew my
little,
mind
like
to find
Hogan,
that out.
and I think because in the 70s and the early 80s, English wrestling was really quite big.
Daddy.
My dad tells, but they were
Giant
really shit.
haystacks.
It was really crap. They had really bad names, and so you kind of got that from your parents. And then suddenly, American wrestling was like, look at this: Hulk Hogan, Texas Tornado, British Bulldog, stuff like that. It's like, fuck, that's awesome. Like,
It's the
here's the
American
Panini
glitz and
sticker
glamour
pack.
they brought to it, isn't it?
Oh,
the
it was
Americans
amazing.
you guys just take it to the next level, and it's such showmanship that you just
Yeah.
get sucked into the storylines and the characters.
We could do a
even in the
WWF
80s with, you know,
podcast, couldn't
But
we?
see, that's why as a kid, when I remember watching G.I. Joe the movie, and you saw Sergeant Slaughter there for the first time, because we all seen the cartoons Out of Disorder. So I didn't know if he was in the normal cartoons at first, but we saw him in G.I. Joe the movie, and it was like, oh my god! And he's training Falcon, and he's training these sort of like, rough Cobra, ex-Cobra people, and it was just like,
makes it all real.
It was just real seeing a wrestling character you've seen in real life suddenly being portrayed as himself in the cartoon.
Yeah, it was fascinating. And yeah, same with WWF. It was just like our wrestlers, but just a lot better and a lot more interesting and behind the scenes. All that, we never saw that in wrestling. It was like almost like a sport. Like they do all their showmanship in the ring. But
Regional
when you got to
They were my
WWF,
boys.
you'd see like Jimmy Mouth of the South would be talking to someone behind the scenes and stuff, and that would just made it such more of a complete drama. And
Roddy
well,
Piper.
obviously it's not drama; it's real. But
It
it
wasn't
made it
all
so
that
much
long
fun.
ago. It wasn't even all that
spoiler
long
alert.
ago that I realized that wrestling was such a big deal in the UK, because I fully expected it to be at least American wrestling. I mean, luchador and all. There's always wrestling everywhere. It's always been a thing somewhere. But American wrestling, WWF and WWE, blew my mind that it was so popular in the UK.
It's like David Hasselhoff in Germany. He's like massive.
Yeah, he's
He's
absolutely
like the biggest thing in Germany.
But see,
Like
that's
that.
one of the things that the information age brought to us, right? Because the world was so much smaller back then, and you thought everything that happened around you was just for you. Like I never even would have thought that anybody other than the South cared about NASCAR and wrestling. It just seemed like such a ridiculously awesome, but strictly Southern ridiculous thing. And I couldn't have been more wrong. But back talking about the Bobby Vala stuff, if you guys get a chance to get any of these comics, you talking about Sergeant Slaughter training Falcon and everything, these guys, he did a fantastic job of introducing Slaughter into the comics. It's perfect. Best comic of the series.
Right,
Transformer comics have not been that great recently. Not the new
They have
ones.
not. they have not.
So we're going to do a Bots at Home 2, the bottoning. Well, I'm making up the time. Hasn't been decided.
We're not-
It's a work in progress, the title.
We're not calling it that.
Botswoman.
Electric Bottaloo? No, nothing.
Who would you love to have on it, Rudy? Like, if you could have a dream guest, not like probably from the world, like Isaac Newton, like just someone who we could actually get on. Who would you love to have on?
Who could we potentially get? I think it'd be good to have Chris McFeely. I know he's slightly tied to TFN, but it's never been about being TFN or taking anything away from TFN. It's just something similar. That'd be good. I kind of whoever. Do you know what it is? Whoever would want to come on and do it really. Who would you like on? Maybe that would give me some inspiration.
Jeff Capes.
I think everyone on. Yeah, Jeff Capes.
Is Jeff Capes a big Transformers fan?
It's just
He could
the whole.
Or is he more Macross? Is he more Zoids?
You get to
find
see.
out.
He's a
You get
massive
Zoids. It must be
Zoids fan,
answered.
isn't
Love
he?
Zoids. The comic
Oh,
book
yeah.
as well.
Zoids.
Jeff
Zoids
Capes.
comic was amazing.
So it's just you get to see like Ultra Marcus. The first time I ever saw him was on Bots at Home. Oh no, on the one we done together, and that was, I thought his show was amazing. And you get to see all his programs, all the Fingers on Plastic. Some of their people hadn't seen before. Like Lupus got to see her show. Just exposes you to.
We got like
Loads of good
Soundwave
people.
8084 did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was
He's
a
a
couple of
great-
other
he's a
people
good guy.
unexpected that contacted me and just said, "Oh, I want to be part of it." And that was really humbling and just really exciting.
Oh, by the way, speaking of, if you guys do another one, you should definitely reach out to like Sentinel Bay and Tim K's Nerd Crate. They would love to do it. They're great
Oh,
guys.
that'd be awesome. Well, we will. Well, Rudy will. I'll join in.
And
No,
have a half.
you can all help me do it because
Rudy's the American
half the
Whisperer.
time when we did these, we were in lockdown and I was either furloughed or flexi
He's even got
furloughed.
the baseball cap fits in.
I'm back to work full time now. I don't want to be putting on a whole convention again. But as I said, I've done all the artwork. Now it's just down to people to get involved and see what we want to do with it. But it's months and months away.
Yeah.
Do you think we would ever do a more, because we've had a more, not just like a transatlantic convention thing, but have Malaysia involved as well, other sort of communities that seem to be quite big,
Brazil.
producing YouTube stuff, do a sort of massive cross international event.
You could have
And
24
have an
hours.
anchor match scenario with that. That would be
Non-stop Transformers YouTube channel.
Plots at home
Running
worldwide.
24/7.
Yeah. Every single language there is.
24/7 formers.
Yeah. Cool.
Live.
Just before we go, I think Alexa, you got one last question you wanted to ask Kato.
I did, yeah. Sorry, so I'm looking after my little boys because my wife's having a girls' night, so I had to go do a quick quick daddy thing there. Yeah, Kato, obviously, you mentioned obviously third party. It's your gig, it's your thing, right? You've got a lovely collection behind you. Do you have a top bot at all? What have you got? What excites you today, I guess, and what has excited you about your collection? Because again, I'm almost lost in the sea of Transformers now. You have a third party, but shut up. But is there anything that stands out for you behind you that I can see? Obviously, you've got your. It looks like you've got your Dix Nightmare. You've got your
Lewin.
Lewin, yeah. There's a lot of things I can point out, but like, what gets you excited behind you, or what's your thing that you enjoy?
Well, right now my favorite thing is that vehicle Voltron. That's not really Transformers related. That just holds much more of a memory than most of them.
I have the original.
Man, I don't know. I think probably my favorite thing back there is still the oversized Devastator. Who did that?
Jim Bao.
Who did that? Jim Bao, yeah, the Jim Bao. It's just it was one of my first really big, impressive overspending moments, and it still looks really good.
Sideswipe as a ball.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Sideswipe as a ball. You like that?
Generation Toy.
Yeah, the Generation Toy.
Oh, sorry.
They need to do more of that.
Sorry, if we said bowl, I was like cutlery.
Sideswipe as a bowl.
I was like,
sideswipe as a bowl.
That's
the thing.
A ramen version of sideswipe.
Put your breakfast cereal into him.
That sounds delicious. Yeah, the whole T-Beast line is impressive, but the Generation Toy, I think it was Generation Toy.
Yep, it was
Red Bull. It's a fantastic toy too. Yeah, man. I think right now one of my favorite MMC is always going to be my favorite. I just think they make great stuff. But I'm really excited for what Kang Toys is doing. Those are the ones that I can't wait for them to release their next thing, because each one they do is better than the last, and they're so big and impressive. That's what she said, and it's just a great figure. This is going really, really weird places. But yeah, those are probably, that's the brand right now that I just cannot wait for them to release something new. I'm having a blast with those, and like I said, they just keep getting better with each one. I do hate that they haven't released a picture of what the combined mode will look like, but either way, they're great bots.
Yeah,
I hope I answered that. I think I answered your question.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. Yeah, appreciate it. That's really cool. Thank you.
I kind of like it that they haven't released the combined mode, because it's kind of like, what's it going to look like? And like every time you get a robot, you're like, fuck, how's that?
Well,
like,
I think what's
going
going good for them is each robot is so good that if the combined mode is absolute trash, at least the robots alone are awesome. But I highly doubt it's going to be trash. I think it's going to look great. Each limb looks phenomenal.
Cool. Awesome. Right, well, that is it for tonight. Thanks so much for our guests for joining us. Obviously, Kato's collection on YouTube, Rudy Zazoo's Science Fantasy Experience. Please go and check them out. You can find us on Twitter at TF Show UK. Is that right?
Yeah.
First time I've ever got it right.
Fail.
You'll get there.
I did get it.
I was actually looking
right.
at Paul's Transformers boxes at the back, and I was thinking, that's really quite cool, quite nice.
Oh, thanks, mate. I like you too. Alexis, right. What was it? What's the Instagram?
Have a go. What's the Instagram? Have a
go. Transformers the show.
That's it.
Oh, fucking hell, I'm on fire.
Don't need them anymore.
I don't need you. Myself. Right. Transformers the show on Facebook and TF UK, which is our home. And we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
I want to drink wine.
Right.
When's the voice? Is the voice over coming this week? Like, you're getting your chapter this week?
No.
Your chap S?
No, I was just texting him before the show. I wanted him to say, like, it's Saturday night, it's 7 o'clock, and it's time for Transformers the News.
Well, like James
Transformers
Corden
the News?
sort of show.
Oh, no, Transformers the show.
God's sake, get the name right.
I think I briefed him correctly.
Transformers the Nudes.
Transformers the Nudes.
It's going to be our spin-off show.
You could just
sat at a desk
who
with
is it
some
who did the news?
Like late night Hollyoaks.
Like the correspondent.
After dark.
Late night Transformers. The show.
Baywatch Nights.
Baywatch Nights.
Hello, I'm
All in
Nurse.
speedos.
See Mitch saying the
Trevor
word fuck.
McDonald,
Fuck
and
everyone.
tonight on Transformers the News.
Right.
And we've gone on a tangent already.
Countdown to the news, and you can kick off, Andy. 3, 2, 1. So, tits.
Did you forget to do it?
No, I can't
What
share
section
the
is that?
screen.
That wasn't
Do I
an
miss that or
innuendo. That
something?
was blatant.
Yeah, really blatant innuendo.
This-
And
This
now,
is-
now on Transformers the show, tits.
This is the part where we say our favourite body
Well,
Well, all
viewers would
right.
get
I
this.
know
Yeah,
y'all
this-
asked
this
me
is
to
where we
come
say
here
our-
for something.
This is where we say our favourite body part. Eyebrows.
Okay,
Oh, dear.
sorry, I didn't have the
Go on, do
answer
it again then.
Right. So that 3, 2, 1. That news was amazing news. Right, on to that Fanstoys Innuendo.